my
what
skills
you
and
do
learn
in
how
this
to be a
life,
true leader. Thank you.
what matters to me is that you keep doing and love you always, Mom. Inspire kids to do at 4h.org.
Welcome to Fight for Life, a pro-life radio show discussing the ministry of First Choice Pregnancy Services here in Las Vegas. I'm Deborah, board member and executive director of First Choice Pregnancy Services.
And I'm Jessica, logistics specialist at First Choice Pregnancy Services.
We are ambassadors for the unborn. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, friends. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Deborah here with Jessica. We are your ambassadors on behalf of the babies, here to share insights and real life stories in the fight for the unborn. Today we have Kelly Quinn with us. He is running for an assembly seat in District 5. So we're looking forward to a good conversation with him. I'm just sitting here learning some stuff about him. As we're waiting to come live on air, we're going to let Jess give you some updates, and then we'll dive into some conversation with him.
Welcome, everyone, from October 20th through October 26, 2022. First Choice Pregnancy Services has helped to provide 75 free pregnancy tests and 48 free ultrasounds to the women of the Las Vegas community. You know, it's very important that we get to reach these women who are abortion bound, and the majority of our clients are bound for abortion and seeking that service out. So we need to reach them and offer them our free services, let them know that there are other options out there, and speak up for the defenseless unborn baby. And we thank you so much for supporting us and helping us with this outreach and Fight for Life Radio. Back to you, Deb.
Amen. And if you're on social media, she didn't plug social media right now.
I wasn't going to do it at the top because I didn't want it to be too lengthy.
Okay.
But if you are listening and you'd like to join in the conversation, give us a call. We'd love to hear your comments and questions. 702-650-5588.
Okay, we have Kelly Quinn with us. He's a Republican candidate for State Assembly District 5. We're going to let him open up telling us a little bit about himself and his background, and then we'll dive into some more conversation.
Perfect. So again, my name's Kelly Quinn. I'm running for Assembly District 5, which is the Spring Valley Lakes area of the valley. The extreme borders run from Alta down to Russell and almost Rainbow up to Wallapai. Mm-hmm. So if you're in that district, that's Assembly District 5.
Summerlin-ish? Is that
Yeah.
a little Summerlin-ish? Okay.
In that area. So, but I chose to run for that office last March, pretty much. Since the first of the year till March, I was thinking about it, and there was a lot of need to represent. And there were several seats that were going unopposed, and I just decided that somebody needed to step up and do something about
And
that.
this seat was one of them. It was an
So,
unopposed seat?
Yes.
Wow.
So
tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you a family guy?
From
I am.
Vegas?
I grew up in Montana, lived in Vegas. I've lived in Nevada for over 30 years. I've lived in this district for 24 years. So I'm very familiar with the state, very familiar with Las Vegas. Yes, I'm married, have 4 kids, 2 of my own, 2 step, and work out at the High Desert State Prison. I'm a correctional sergeant out there. Been there for 14 years, and decided this is another area that I could serve, and very much a need for.
That is a true heart of a public servant right there. When you go from the frying pan of law enforcement into the frying pan of politics.
Yep.
But we need more people to step up, and
We
so
do.
we thank you for being
Yeah.
that example and stepping up to fill in.
Yep, and I have done a little bit of legislative work before. I used to work for the Health Division up in Carson City, and I've done some legislative work there, and working on various bills related to health care and emergency medical services. I was an emergency medical services regulator for several years, both for the Health Division and the Health District here in Clark County. So that took me into the political field a little bit, working on some of those issues, but never thought I'd run for office, though. So,
We all end
But
up a
there was a
lot of
need.
places we never thought we'd be.
right.
God directs us there, though.
That's right.
Kelly is a Christian man, and we met him a couple months ago at a stand event, which is a Christian event that just kind of brings some of our candidates together and allows fellow Christians to ask questions and and take a stand for what is right in our community. And we met him there, and we actually saw him again at another event last night. So we're like, why don't you come on with us, Kelly?
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad it worked out.
Yep.
We've had something in common, though, and that is we have been under attack. Deb, would you please direct us in what has happened over the last week for First Choice?
Well, we had a young woman in our center last week. We gave her our free services. She got an ultrasound image of her baby and ended up taking it back to a friend with a little pair of booties that we had given. When we have gals that come in and see us, we give them a gift bag with a couple baby items in it before they leave, just to help them hopefully connect to the reality of what they're experiencing, parenthood. And she took this back to this woman, and this woman went after us on Twitter, calling us out as a fake clinic.
Of course, their definition of a fake clinic is just
that we don't provide abortions.
Yes, a medical clinic that doesn't provide an abortion. However, we are a medical clinic. So
yeah, so it was kind of we felt like it was kind of along the lines of some of the slanted journalistic articles, if you want to call them that happened recently, coupled in with some of the other organizations that have attacked us, tying in with Governor Sisolak's website that he put up calling for people to report fake clinics and different things that they experienced there. So this post ended up getting shared on Twitter. It had been shared it had been hearted over 25,000 times last time I saw it, and it had been shared over 10,000 times. So they came to Google, and I don't know, in 48 hours they did over 21-star reviews on us. And then back on her Twitter, she was rejoicing in how it was dropping our ratings. Then they decided to go to our website, and two of them just put some nasty comments and completely booked up our entire schedule for the week so that nobody could schedule any appointments. And
so the legitimate people that actually needed appointments and needed medical care didn't have the availability.
And then Friday and Monday, they just harassed us on our phone lines all day, just calling, saying crazy things, asking crazy questions. So it definitely was something out of the ordinary that we're used to dealing with. I was talking to my dad about it, and he said, "Blessed are you."
That's right.
And I was like, "That's right, Dad." Got to keep it in perspective. We're doing the right thing, and they're attacking us.
That's
so
right.
We took it as a badge of honor. But it just shows the political atmosphere right now. It's a huge issue, even with Kelly and Jacob and some of them that we were talking to last night. Sam Peters, I was talking to him. Everybody is hitting this issue in the mainstream right now, and it is definitely an issue that gets those that are very far-wing, unhinged folk riled up, and those that have nothing but time on their hands definitely keep people busy.
Amen. So, Kelly, tell us about some of the stuff that's been happening to you.
Well, yeah, talking about the hit pieces and the negative side of it, there's been several mailers come out. I've got 6 of them out on me right now that are really trying to slam me. And all the candidates are getting the same thing. It's the template card that they just changed the pictures on and some of the information. But really the first few that came out, I kind of liked. It was
you framed them.
Put my platform out there and said, "Yeah, I agree with that."
What were the ones
send
that?
It out again.
What did they say?
So,
what are they specifically attacking you on?
There was one that I wanted to hold the government agencies accountable fiscally, and yeah, I do. And another one came out that said Quinn will even use the Bible and the Constitution on making policy decisions. Yeah, that's me. Send that one out again, too. That's fine.
You're helping this. Keep it
there's
up.
several of those, and of course they got my name all across the top of them, so I'm like, okay, that creates name recognition for me, so that's fine. But then the one came out that was talking about my work a little bit and slamming that and slamming my fellow officers as well. And that one hit home a little bit, but even still, it's getting the name out there, and so I think it's helping us better than
I
hindering.
had somebody tell me the other day, when I'm getting these crazy mailers, that's the stack I'm keeping. This is the person I need to vote
Yeah,
for.
right, exactly.
So it does help people that align on our side, weed people
Yeah.
out of who they should be checking into for voting.
And when I'm out door knocking too, that's the response I get is people are getting so tired of the hit pieces and the
Yeah.
negative press and the negative ads, and they're just done with it. But they recognize that it's taken one small piece and taken it way out of context and running with it. So, but again, I think it's helping more than hindering. So,
I mean, you have a unique perspective too that you bring into this stuff with crime being so high right now, and living that
Right.
life in that. You have a very unique perspective to add to all of this because you're very close to all of that.
you know, again, the issues that people talk about when I'm out door knocking is safety and security is number one. Well, the economy really is number one right now, with gas prices being $5 a gallon. Then the safety and security. You know, a lot of parents are scared to even send their kids into the schools because, you know, there's a lot of violence and disarray there right now as well, and the lack of discipline, and even some of the teachers are saying, yeah, we can't control our own classrooms.
Yeah.
So that's hitting home quite a bit. The violence in the streets too, the same thing.
Yeah.
So people are getting tired of it.
Well, it's a sign of our
So-
dying, decaying world, that's for sure.
Yes.
And hopefully the return of Christ soon. So let's talk about some of your platforms. One of them is government overreach, and we really saw that whenever Governor Sisolak shut everything down during COVID, and we had a really hard time trying to get everything back open again. But he's doing it now, again, during the election, whenever Deb just talked about how he used our taxpayers' money to open up a website to report us fake clinics.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that yet.
Oh,
so
yes. This is something
I gotta
that's
check that out.
fairly new within the last couple of weeks, I want to say.
We wind up in his crosshairs every time he's on the ballot.
Yep. So,
But the overreach, that was really my first issue that got me thinking about running even. Because I started reaching out to certain legislators to try to rein that back in. 'Cause I don't think any governor, either party, should have the ability of shutting down our economy
That's
for
right.
2 years straight like that, and all the businesses, et cetera. And so part of the emergency response statutes, my thought was to have some sort of legislative oversight to all of that. And I used the fire season as an example, saying, say if Mount Charleston's burning, the responders need to be able to go in, shut the businesses down, evacuate people, allocate resources, but for a certain period of time. And be it 60 days, 90 days, whatever, some sort of timeline that they have to go to one of the legislative committees, the standing committees, and say, yes, we're going to continue this, or no, we're not. And had that been in place during the pandemic, I don't think we would have been shut down nearly as long as we've been shut down for. So that was really the first part with that government overreach. And again, stomping all over our rights and liberties that are guaranteed in the Constitution.
Yeah, I don't
So-
think a lot of people, I mean, I'm not super familiar, but I've gotten more familiar with kind of what the Assembly does over the last few years. I don't think a lot of people, though, are really familiar with what you guys do
You're right.
and how what you guys do really affects our daily lives. I know a little bit more about it because when they were doing the whole thing after Shay got shot a few years ago, us Metro wives were working so hard when they were taking your guys' peace officer Bill of Rights, stripping all that stuff out of it.
Yes.
And so when you think even on the Assembly level, maybe you can speak into that a little bit of kind of what that looks like, and because I know you guys have a 2-year term, right?
Correct, on the Assembly side.
And
There's-
it's only a couple of weeks that you're really
Right.
focused up there doing that work specifically together.
So the Assembly, it's 42 seats, 42 on the Assembly side, 21 on the Senate side. So the 63 of us make up the Nevada State Legislature. And we're responsible for the laws and the budgets for how the state operates. And we submit bills on behalf of our constituents and the agencies. And then we debate and figure out how best to serve the state with the resources that we have available, and the various laws related to that. and having the overreach and reining some of that back in is a big part of what you're talking about with the law enforcement being unfunded or reduced funded or reallocated. That affects all of us. And with Metro, all the agencies in town here, as well as prison system, which I'm most familiar with. And
are you guys like severely understaffed right now too?
Very much. I was just going to say that just at High Desert alone, we're I think 106 positions short right now out of 480. But it's been sustained like that for about 6 months.
And when you think about them being understaffed,
106 positions.
106
right now.
positions. They have the bad people in that prison. It's not just some, there's a lot of bad people that are not being kept in prison anymore. They're on house arrest. So when you have them understaffed to that extent, that's really bad for their safety inside of the prison. I don't know what your guys' prison like is up there, but I know down here in Metro, like, I was going to go do a tour through the jail, and they told me it was going to be like 2 officers for 80 people in a pod, and I said, no, thank you.
It's not uncommon.
And they're not carrying around guns in there. So it's a huge safety concern within law enforcement in general when you're understaffed.
We've had more staff assaults in the last year than we've had since the history of High Desert for 22 years.
Wow.
And in my opinion, at least 6 of those are attempted murder type staff assaults.
Wow.
We even had a nurse get stabbed up. And and they're not prosecuting them.
Yeah.
And I'm
Did she
still
survive?
questioning why. Yeah, he's back to work now.
did.
He was out for about 3 months, but he's back now. So
Well, one of your... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, one of your other platforms is on human and drug trafficking. Do you want to talk into that? Because this totally plays into abortion.
Yeah, and it plays in with the border security as well, I feel, because much of that is coming straight across the border. It comes through Clark County, Las Vegas, and continues up to northern Utah and disperses throughout the country in northern Utah. And I've been to a few conferences that talk about the cartels and the gangs and that type of the crimes. And much of them, or many of them, are switching over from the drug trade to the human trade, and either the sex trafficking or organ trafficking, etc. And they're routing right through here. One of the gals that's helping on the campaign, she was a dairy farmer up in Idaho, and she would ask a lot of the migrant workers, why Idaho? Why are you coming here? And the vast majority of them were to get away from the cartels and get their family away from them, because they're going to be forced into the drug trade, the trafficking trade, etc. So that's a big part of the border security, and then what's happening here as well. And but it leads into the abortion trade too. So
we feel that abortion is human traffickers and rapists' best
we deal
friend.
with a lot of those human trafficking situations at First Choice.
Yep.
And that whole part of the trade, though, is just appalling to me that it's continued to allow to continue. I lost my train of thought. I was going to tell you though.
That's okay.
But,
well, Becky Mitchell actually contacted us, and she asked that we pray over this whole election. Would either one of you like to just take a couple minutes to do that real quick? And we're just going to ask that our followers and our listeners here be in continuous prayer over this election. We know that there's a lot of wicked things that are happening, and we saw that play out in the last election, and we want to make sure that this whole election process is covered and minimalizing whatever.
Yeah, we heard that there's already some
happening.
really sketchy stuff going on at some polling locations with
Tell them about that.
out-of-stater people that have been brought in to help run this election stuff. People carrying in packages, nobody checking what they're carrying in their bags. And so, when you think about good versus evil, the spiritual warfare of the fight for good versus evil is raging right now. All you have to do is look at your ballot that you got in the mail. Look at the first 3 things that are on there for that are going onto the ballot. I think one of them's sex change for little kids, which, by the way, if you don't know what to vote on, 1, 2, and 3, vote no on all of them. They're all bad. And so ultimately, God is in control of the outcome of these situations, but we need to really be on our knees before the Lord, asking him to have mercy on us, and pray for the integrity of this election, as that is a thing in America that is a huge issue, the integrity of the election. Would you like to pray, Kelly, or
Sure.
I can pray?
Just a short one would be great. Thank you.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for our lives together and the people that have been brought into our lives and working together to serve your will, and the candidates that have all stepped up to run across the board, from the federal races on down to the local county races and city races. We all need your support, guidance, and the guidance and help from the people around us as well. So just be with us, be with the workers as we go through this election cycle, and just give the guidance to get a free and fair election. We know there's going to be fraud with it, but we just need enough people to turn out and overcome those evils. So, in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Pray that God will put a hedge of protection around you guys and your
Yes.
families, because I know
Yes.
these last 2 weeks are going to be rough.
So there's a couple election things that I wanted to cover real quick. We had Jesus Marquez at our event last night, and he shared with us that he's looking for 150 poll watchers. If you would like to do something tangible, let's do something that you can say at the end of the day that you helped with the election.
And it doesn't have to be a full day. It can just be a couple
Yeah.
hours, like he said.
Yeah. You can go to https //faithwins.org /take-action /
You can skip the first part and just say faithwins.org.
faithwins.org
Backs-
/take-action. Okay. And then as you're voting out in the polls this year and you want to vote pro-life, not only look at the candidates, but look at the initiatives as well. We do have one that's up in the ballot this year, Nevada Parental Notification for Minors Abortion. Please make sure that you vote for that so that parents know when their minor children are considering having an abortion. What it would be is the abortion clinics and have to notify the parental unit before the abortion takes place. So right now they don't have to do that.
And while you're at it, just remember to keep First Choice in your prayers, as we are in the crosshairs of all of this stuff right now. And things continue to progress in a very evil and wicked direction with abortion, and the bottom to which people will go to murder the unborn. We will give you some more stories on that. We were going to talk to you about some abortion pill stuff, but we're kind of winding down on time. You should actually come to the banquet, because I'm going to give you a lot of information on this at the banquet. Our banquet is November the 10th at the Westgate. Our keynote speaker is going to be Rachel Campos Duffy. She is the weekend anchor on Fox and Friends on the Fox News channel. She's the mother of 9. Her youngest child has Down syndrome, and that is really what we are honing in on this year at our banquet. So make sure that you go visit our website, fcpsfriends.org. All of our information for the banquet is up there. It starts at 6 p.m. on the 10th. It's a Thursday night. The following day is Veterans Day, so hopefully you have that day off and you can come hang out and have a good night with us, supporting the work that we do and helping us advance what we're doing and taking it to the next level here in Las Vegas. Kelly, why don't you mention before we close out how people can find you?
Yeah, the website is quinforenvy.com, and my phone number is 702-806-7838, and all that information is on the website as well. So again, it's Quinn for Envy fightforlife.com.
Well, thanks for coming in on such short notice and joining us today.
Thank you so much as well.
It's nice to meet you and learn that you're my blue family, too.
Yeah, thank you. And thank your
Amen.
husband as well.
We do have 40 Days for Life that is meeting outside of First Choice, outside of 860 East Sahara. And they'll be meeting until November. If you are looking for a way to get plugged in, come down. Pray over First Choice. Pray over the women that are on their way down to the abortion clinic at the end of the cul-de-sac.
We need a 365 days for life. So if you'd like
Yeah.
to extend this 40 days, they've had some awesome testimonies of people that have turned from abortion with them standing out there lately.
Yeah, it's
So-
been amazing. But go ahead. With that being said,
we're up on our time. Like always, it went fast. So thank you guys for joining us today on the Fight for Life. We hope you will return next week on Thursday at 12:30 for another interview. We will have Jacob with us next week. God bless you guys. Have a great weekend.
God bless. Thanks for joining your ambassadors for the unborn on the Fight for Life radio today and every Thursday on KKVV 1060 AM, the best news radio, the gospel airship.
If you'd like to support the cause of saving unborn babies, or if you have a question you'd like us to answer on the air, go to fcpsfriends.org or call us at 702-294-CARE. Again, that number is 702-294-2273.
On behalf of his little ones, thank you and God bless.